welcome to my workshop on getting family pictures framed into your game besides the usual ways. I'm Rachel, also known as Rachums or Charmful or Cashmere Sims. I'm not very consistent in my online aliases. I apologize. But this is my workshop and I love to take pictures, so I am going to share some of these techniques with you today. So the usual ways you can get family pictures in your game are through the Artist Career Reward. These are photos taken with a camera and they can be put up on a wall or placed on a surface as like a stand frame. And you can do a vertical or a horizontal on that. But some of the drawbacks are they're always going to be the same size and the same frame type. The other obstacles in there, unless you like a challenge, are that your sim has to have a degree from uni to even unlock the artist career. And on top of that, they have to get to a certain level in the artist career before they can get this camera. Sure, you can use the bool prop testing cheats enabled true to kind of fast track that if you don't want to wait, but again, it's going to be the same size and frame. The other option is to have your sim take a picture with the Bon Voyage camera. This was a function that came in with the Bon Voyage expansion pack. All sims, I think, I'm not sure if kids can do it, but at least teens and older have an option to take a picture, and then that will bring up like a little green frame. You line it up and press C, and these can be ordered on a computer after the vacation, or you can just take pictures in the regular neighborhood using a camera, but they can be ordered in albums or individually. And some of the drawbacks of that is that they cost money if you're a very money conscious player. You also have to kind of wait. It's pretty fast, but it goes through the process of ordering them and having the delivery person show up. And again, it's going to be the same frame all the time, and also these are only available in horizontal orientation. So the first method of getting an alternate way of family photos in frame is a hacked object called Lucas's hacked frame. I have all of everything I'm talking about linked in a resource doc that is in this video. So you can go there and grab these tools to help you. But really, all it is, steps overview here, you pose out your sims. You don't even have to pose out your sims. You could take candids this way as well. But you basically set up your photo and you buy this Lucas's hacked frame from the catalog. So it does still cost money, just a little bit. And then you click on the frame to change photo, pick an option, line up the frame. It's an in-game frame, just as you would with a regular camera. And then you press C to take your picture, and the image will immediately appear in the frame. You will, if you do freeze your sims into poses, you will have to have a sim unfrozen before that frame will show up, because I learned that when I was taking pictures for this workshop, that you can't have all your sims frozen, otherwise the frame will never show up to take the picture. So keep that in mind. So the next thing you could do is just directly replacing the picture files that you take in-game with that Bon Voyage camera. Anytime you take a picture with that camera, it'll go into your storytelling folder in your EA Games, The Sims 2, neighborhoods, whatever your neighborhood identifier is, in your storytelling folder. If you take the picture in a regular hood, in just the regular hood, it's going to have an N in front of it, an N thumbnail or an N snapshot. That the N means neighborhood, and the file is going to have a 4-digit number. That's the family identifier, and then another 8-digit number, which is the unique identifier of the photo. So basically, if you ever want to replace some of those files and order some custom pictures you've taken, like through a third-party program that aren't in the game, if you want those to appear so your Sims can order them, this is a good method to do that, because what you do is take a photo the regular way. This will at least get you the family identifier, because it'll show up if you sort through like latest modified. It'll give you your family number, and you can just write that down somewhere, like John Smith's family. The Smith family is this number. And then you find that, and you can open it and replace that. But then if you like duplicate it later, you can just add photos directly in this method, and it'll show up as an orderable photo, and we'll show you that here later in the workshop. So this is just an example of how I replaced that photo I took outside of the game with one I took in the game, and I can order it, and then I can put it on the wall, or I can set it on a surface with like that stand back frame. And I am using a default replacement for the Bon Voyage frames, which is in the resource doc. There's a good set with a lot of options you can choose to do that with. And then finally, this is a little bit more technical, but there's a great set of frames called It Will Last Longer frame set, and it comes in many sizes, I think 5 or 6 sizes, and there's wall versions and stand-up frame versions. There's horizontal and vertical versions. And the other perk of it, it's they're repoed. So any picture you recolor like your horizontal frame with, it'll show up as an option in all size horizontal and all types of horizontal frames from this set. So you don't have to go and individually recolor any one of them. You just have a horizontal template and a vertical template. I'm going to go over the steps. It's a little bit more involved, and then I'll break it down. But basically, when you go in just to extract the template in SimPE, you open the package file of the mesh. On the TXTR plugin view, you right click the image and select extract or export. I think it's export. I just put extract because I didn't double check that. I apologize. Then you can close the package file, open your photo editor of choice, import the family photo, or open that you just extracted, and then you import your family photo, resize. If you're doing a vertical, then you rotate it, and then you can mask off the excess. There's other ways to do that. You can cut out the blink and put your family photo on a layer under it. Personally, I like to mask it. I think that's quicker and cleaner. But then you go back to SimPE, you open the object workshop, and then you click open. That'll open your like custom meshes. You select the photo frame mesh you want, and it'll ask you if you want to do the outside frame or like the inside frame. You just want the inside frame checked. That's the one with the picture you just added. And then you set the action to recolor and click start. And so that will open up like a recolor of the package. Oh, it also asks you to name your package file, your recolor package file. So I recommend something identifying. I personally like to name them with my family's surname and then an underscore and then something like family photo 1 or like Christmas photo or a couple photo, depending on what the subject of the family photo is. And so then you right click on the TXTR image of that recolor package in the plugin view, and then you select a build DXT utilities. This will have a pop out called a DXT builder or a DDS builder. From there you select the picture that you edited in your photo editing program. Make sure the settings DXT 3D and none for the sharpen field, and then you commit and save. And make sure to save it, or at least put it into your game before you load your game, because otherwise the recolor option's not going to show up. I know a lot of creators sometimes forget to do that, so this is your reminder to put that into your downloads folder so you can see it. So breaking that process down, in SimPE, here's the SimPE window. You find your TXTR in the resource tree right there, and so when you click that, you'll have this resource list. And when you have this resource list, find the one that has this picture. When you open it in the plugin view, and right here, this is where you right click and do the export option. So this will get you this image basically without the red outline. Then in your photo editing program, most photo editing programs are the same as far as like how layers work and masking. So your mileage may vary, but I did this with Photopea. It's a free online photo editing in your on your browser, and it works pretty comparable to Photoshop. But in your editing program, so open up that export you just got from SimPE. It should be like a PNG or a JPEG. And then you open and place your family photo on top of it. You can resize it. You'll need to resize it. You can shrink it down. And then what I like to do for masking is just take that photo, reduce the opacity just a little bit right here. I had it at 60. And then what I do is take my select tool and then kind of just select the area of the frame. And then I go down to the bottom like of the layer window, and there's this square with a circle. I hit that and it masks it. And so that's the result. Just kind of a clean trim. So then back in SimPE, you'll have your recolor package open from when you did that last step in SimPE. So this is where you will right click that image and do build DXT, and that'll do that pop out. And right there you can hit the open, find your edited photo where you masked it off, and make sure the DXT3 format. I don't know if it really harms it if it's 1 or 5. It's just, I've always used DXT3. So maybe somebody with more knowledge can explain that. And then the sharpen is to none. And then you build, the image will pop in here. You'll want to hit commit to commit it to the package, and then save the package. And make sure, again, the recolor package is in your downloads. Otherwise it's not going to show up. And then finally, I have a couple tips and tricks before we get into this. If you don't have a pure like family pose box, I always like to use my put the parents together in a couple's pose box, and then kind of like fit the kids around them. I think that's a suitable way to get like kind of a unique family photo. Not something like super lovey-dovey, but like just like, arms around each other kind of couple pose box. DD has a great arm overlay pose box that allows you to manipulate a Sim's arm or hand on like over shoulders or around waists. So that's pretty good for family photo ambition. Additional overlay boxes can turn heads and direct facial expressions. There's a look at me mod by Maybe Something to Know. Epi has an edit where they look longer at wherever the camera is. William, aka Pig and Mix, has the Sim turner, which I like to use. They turn their heads toward the camera, so they're not looking off into space. They're all looking kind of in one central direction. There's OMSPs, which stand for one more slot placement or one more slot please. Acid Lucidity on Mod The Sims has some great different collections of that. And those are necessary for your Sims to be kind of nudged close together. If you've ever tried to pose your Sims and don't have them on an OMSP, you'll find out quickly they will snap to each other and you can't get them really to look good together. With the grid off, of course. Children can actually use any pose if you have a second story or underground OMSP. If you've ever tried to pose children without it, if you tried to pose children with adult poses, the skeletons are different, so they pop up in the air, trying to like meet you at the difference of that. But if you put them on an underground or second story one, you can shift them basically like little puppets, and they can basically use any pose. So that's just a trick if you're struggling to find kid poses out there. There are a lot of kid poses, but not as nearly as many as adult poses. The freezer clock is a great little hacked tool, and it's highly recommended, especially for large families, and in general. You can freeze your Sims in their poses so they don't snap and walk away. One thing I like to do is turn free will off, so that is less of a risk of them snapping out, especially if you've layered a bunch of overlays and poses together. It should be illegal. It's just really annoying when they do that. They snap out of that. If you use the freezer clock, keep in mind that any pets or children will be taken away if all the teens and adults on the lot are frozen beforehand. So my advice is to pose animals and children before you pose the adults and teens, just so they aren't taken away, because that will happen. And it's happened to me before, and then I have to quit without saving. Also, again, the camera option for that Lucas's hacked frame, the frame won't show up if everybody's frozen. So you have to have at least one Sim unfrozen. So now now we'll get into the technical aspect of this. I have a family already kind of set up to be posed. I already posed the dog because posing animals is work. And I didn't want to spend 20 minutes showing you how to pose an animal. That's not what this is for necessarily, this workshop. But I did finagle my way into posing this puppy in this boy's arm. So that's out of the way and I don't have to show you that. The rest of the family, we're going to pose them. And I'll show you some of these techniques that I went over for tips and tricks, and then we'll look at the hacked frame where we'll place a Bon Voyage picture, and then lastly we'll take a picture and use that in the It Will Last Longer recoloring. So again, parents can pretty much go into a couples pose. I didn't pull out a pose box for that. Shame on me. I have like 800 pose boxes. No, not really. That's hyperbole. I have like 350 and I'm not a collection girly. So I don't have like a very good, organized like couples pose box collection versus family pose box collection. I just kind of look at all my poses. Let's see. So this is a Dee Dee pose box. Dee Dee has a lot of great pose boxes, honestly. If you want to go raid her Tumblr, like, she has everything very neatly labeled, and you'll probably just want all her stuff. All right, we have stand cup face, stand lift, stand chest cuddles. Let's do stand beside. That seems really good for a couple, for a family photo. Stand beside female. Okay, so Victoria, she's the mother. That's fine. I'm going to freeze her just so she doesn't snap out of that. Sawyer did not obey. Posing Sims is like herding cats sometimes, so bear with me. Oh, I think I froze him. I think I froze everybody. There we go. I froze everybody at first to make sure they didn't wander off while I was doing the slide deck. All right, so again, I have the grid turned off. That's why I can slide them around, slippity slide. And I put them on a walkthrough box, which isn't necessarily an OMSP, but it has a slot and you can put a sim on it. So I tend to do that. So it looks like they will be doing something like this over here. But, you know, they're looking off the camera, not at the camera, so we will fix that later. But I am going to freeze him. I need to pose Bryn, the little girl here, before I freeze her brother, because Chase here with the puppy, he's already frozen, he's already posed. So I'm kind of even not going along with my advice here. She was going to get taken away if I forgot to not freeze him. Actually, he is frozen, so I'm going to unfreeze him while I unfreeze her. So pose her, and I'm going to show you that technique where I can do any kind of pose on a kid and then use one of those specialized OMSPs to align them so they're not just popped up in the air. And now let me find a pose box that she can use that's like a casual pose box. I did make a children pose box the other month, but we're not going to use that one. No, we're not going to make this easy. 10 group model poses. Okay, let's try that. Bryn, you're moving on up. Okay, pose 1. Her arm's clipping, so no. She could be holding her dad's leg or something, or her mom's. Maybe not that one. It's a contender. Oh, that's cute. Okay, but you see, she's popped up because that pose was made for an adult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my OMSPs, which if you download, they're going to be in Surfaces MISC, unless you recategorize them or something. And I'm not really sure what height I want naturally, but this is a below ground. So below ground one, she's going to disappear immediately. And she's going to be having to be shifted up. Like that. So look, she's here now. like that. I don't know if I'm gonna have him take a picture. I should probably move them up. I should probably move them up in front of here to take these pictures. It's a nice neutral background. Not a lot going on. I gotta grab her post box right there, or not post box, OMSP. And I'm gonna start making a area for them to look at. So in tab mode, this is a trick I like to use to keep it consistent. I'm gonna do a saved camera angle. So in tab mode, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say this is where I want them all to look. So I'm gonna hit Control 4. You can do 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 or 9. Those will all save. If you need to do multiple, I like to do 4. You can't do 1 through 3 because those are like your speed keys, so it won't work if you do Control 1, 2, or 3. So I'll do Control 4. So what this does is if you get out of tab mode and you go back in, you can hit 4 and it'll go right back to where you saved that. So it's a very handy trick in The Sims 2 to do that. I am going to get out the Sim Turner. That was the pick and mix option. And I'm going to have her look at camera. There we go. She's looking straight at the camera. Love that. So I am going to freeze her. She is posed and ready. I'm going to unfreeze Victoria really quick and have her look at the camera. There we go. And she's naturally smiling. I haven't had to force anybody into a smile yet. Ultimate puppeteering. Gonna freeze her. And then gonna unfreeze Sawyer, the father. Have him look at camera. I'm gonna have him actually smile. Oh, he's doing zombie eye. You gotta wait for that. Sometimes when they blink, their eyes get a little stretchy or white or kind of just creepy looking. Gotta wait that out. Although I think the Look At Me mod, Ose had said the Epi edit, they do it longer without that zombie eye, so that will be helpful. Alright, I need Chase up here. I'm actually going to use him on a rotator. Gummy Lut recently released these incremental by 5 degree trays I'm really liking for this. And this puppy also probably should go on a 30 just to match. Oh, ooh. Shiftable. There we go. Like, this dog is on so many OMSPs. Like, the way I got the dog like this, I had Grant, the other brother, pick up the dog while Chase was frozen in this position. And then I grabbed the dog while it was being picked up, froze the dog, and put the dog on like a 90-degree backwards OMSP. And now it's like on this rotator MSP and shifted it up. So it was like a lot of steps. So that's why I didn't want to spend like 20 minutes doing that in this video. Alright, I'm just going to make sure they're both frozen. They're probably already frozen, but I just want to make sure. And then lastly, Grant. Let's see, what can Grant do? I have this casual man pose box. That seems like something Grant would do. That looks pretentious, but Grant's kind of pretentious. Let's see if there's something better. That looks awkward, but Grant's awkward too. Poor Grant. Okay, I'm just kind of like ripping on Grant here. So where does Grant go? Grant goes in the back here. Sure, Grant. Grant also looked kind of pissy. So I'm going to make him smile for the camera. So face overlay. This is a box. It's linked in the resources. It's by Decker Gal. It's an oldie, but a goodie. So I'm going to make him smile. And look at camera, just for good measure. And you see how he's getting a thought bubble here. So you can put in a cheat, call show headlines off. That won't immediately get rid of it, but it won't let any more come in. Thought or speech bubbles or like little notifications if it's like the school bus is coming or work carpool is coming. One tip we just learned today, which I learned today from OS, was that you can do an appearance and change. Oh, sorry. No, appearance, clothing, change it, and immediately gets rid of the thought bubbles. I'm just going to change Grant's clothing back to casual. So that immediately got rid of it. So that's a nice little tip there that I didn't know until today. I'm also going to turn the plumb bob toggle off. I don't technically have plumb bobs, but I have the little glowy parts because I moved to Linux, and for some reason JAWS no plumb bob show mod doesn't really work with Linux. Can't really say why, but that's a thing. All right, so Grant he's good. I'm going to freeze him. Chase isn't looking at the camera, so I'm going to unfreeze Chase. So this is where it gets a little risky because they might start popping out if he's unfrozen. I have free will off, so that should mitigate it a little, but he might pop out of this pose, but that's fine. It's just a single pose. I didn't really do any overlays, so it's kind of a piece of cake to get him back in it. I'm gonna, look at camera, go to here. Ooh, he didn't look at camera. So when they don't look at camera, that's where I take out the nudger, which is an overlay parts kind of box, and I'm gonna turn his head to the left 22 degrees. And then back right 22 degrees, that kind of evens it out. And maybe make him look at camera again. Or maybe do a different rotator. There he goes. He's not smiling though, so we're going to make him smile. There we go. Perfect. Look at that cute family. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is freeze him. And then, you know, it says dark. You can solve that by two ways. You can go into buy or build and hit just the light button. That'll make it day if it's night. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture right now of them. But with the Lucas's hacked frame, one sim has to be unselected, as I said in the tips of the slide. So I'm going to go get the Lucas hacked frame and show you just how to do that really quick. You don't have to leave the game to do it. It'll just be in the buy catalog. There's some add-ons where you can do a vertical. The original just comes with a horizontal though. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to unfreeze Sawyer. And because this has to be done like in live mode, I am going to do a set hour, like 8 a.m. So that'll just bring the time to 8 a.m. And it's Saturday, so they're not going to like miss buses or anything. And I'm going to hit change photo normal. So this hacked frame basically just cuts out the middleman of the artist career word camera. You don't have to have a sim take the picture. You don't have a sim having to have like 10 skills to take it. You just get the options with this. So I did that, and what it should do there it goes, is bring up the in-game camera thing. But you see Sawyer, because he's live, he decided not to look at the camera. So I'm going to have him look at the camera again. Go to my 4. Sorry, you want to look at the camera, buddy? Oh, he doesn't want to look at the camera because that action is after this picture. So instead, I'm going to go force his head to turn right just slightly. There, that's pretty normal. All right, so while I have this up, I gotta go kind of awkwardly use this. Like that. This can be the family photo. Press C and you take it, and immediately with Lucas's hacked frame, you get this in a frame, so it's a pretty quick way to do that. Right. All right, and then the next thing I'm gonna do, I don't want to, actually, yeah. Okay, so remember that picture I took earlier? I just took a regular picture through my third party like option, which there's many ways to do that. You can do it through Xbox Game Bar. You can use Greenshot. There's some other programs. The names elude me right now. Personally, I use Reshade, and Reshade I can take pictures on. I think through RPC, if you do the screenshot button, there's a folder it saves to. So there's a lot of different ways to do third-party screenshots, which get you a higher resolution, bigger photo than the in-game one, even if you have it all the way up. It'll just be bigger. So what I'm going to do is the next thing is the Bon Voyage thing. I'm going to have Sawyer take a picture, and that's going to snap him, but this doesn't matter. Or does it? Here, I'm going to have him try that again. Maybe he needs some room for those. Gonna take a picture. Yeah, okay. So he has to like get somewhere to do this. But so what this accomplishes, I don't really care about the picture right now. What I'm gonna do is press C, and what that does is it just kind of makes a record of this family's ID. So when I go to my game neighborhoods cache, that's what this neighborhood's called, and storytelling, I will get an end thumbnail and an end snapshot. Actually, that's not that folder. Where is my other snapshot? This, no? Oh my gosh. Where is this? Saturday. Oh, maybe I do need to save. I think I need to... or maybe wait until he's done. Alright, let's see. I don't use this method that often. Okay, here it is. So here's Saturday, September 20th. This is the snapshot, a horrible snapshot of the poseboxes over there. So this is where you can open up your photo editing program. Exit. I use PhotoP. Like I said, it's a free browser-based photo editor. I can open from computer. I can just go get that snapshot in my neighborhoods cache. Storytelling. I'm going to get my snapshot from just now. I'm going to file, open in place. The picture I took earlier where it was just, they were all posed nicely. And that automatically comes with it selected, so you can resize it. So I'm just going to resize it and basically paste it over that. And this is going to be your family photo. I'm going to export this as a JPEG. I'm just going to save over it. But again, like, you can just keep doing this and saving it, like labeling it 0001, 0002. Just to, it doesn't have to be this junk number. Like, I can go, but I'm doing it over because I don't want to save that junk picture. So that's why I'm saving it over. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. I was in the wrong folder. I want neighborhoods, cache, storytelling. That's the snapshot. And I'm saving it and I'm replacing it. And same thing with the thumbnail. This is just how you know which one to order. Neighborhoods, cache, storytelling, thumbnail. If you take a picture in like Tweaky or if like they're on vacation, they won't have the N for neighborhood in front of it. They'll have a different letter. And then you can filter them by like the subhood they're taken in between all the vacation hoods and the normal hood. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to open and place what I had before. And I'm just going to save over the thumbnail. And you notice I didn't close the game. You don't have to close the game for this action. What we're going to do is have Sawyer immediately go into the computer and order photos. And I'll show you this magic. It's not magic, it's just technical stuff. So there it is. There's a little thumbnail. There's the picture. This is the order print. It's 15 simoleons. You're still spending money. You're still waiting for the process, but that is a good way to get pictures like directly in. If you want to like do an album too, that's a good way to get just a bunch of pictures if you've taken them outside of the game to get them in there. So he's going to wait for Amasim. Credit to Pick and Mix for coming up with Amasim, the delivery service. And here they come, and they're like, oh, they're going to be proper and walk on the sidewalk and use the crosswalk. Very proper. They're like, this family's very stiff as they walk over here and deliver this photo. Oops. There we go. So now they have a beautiful little family photo they can put on the wall or a desk somewhere. Although it looks like I was really cutting it close with the head of there. So we're going to open SimPE for this one. And you're going to want to start in the object workshop for recoloring custom items. You want to do open, not start. Start gives you Maxis items. Open will give you custom. And I'm going to grab the mesh for my horizontal. It will last longer. Pictures. EA Games. Two. Downloads. My downloads are very messy, but I know where everything is for the most part. Photo frame meshes. We want the horizontal master. So we're going to recolor that. The task is already set to recolor. Make sure it's not clone. Start. Does some loady things. Load. And then it will prompt you to name your recolor package file. I'm going to go save that into my downloads for my game, just so I don't have to forget later I did that. It will last longer. Oh yeah, it's in here. I'm going to name it the last name of the family, which is Wellington. I'm going to put Sawyer, since he's the dad. I have a lot of Wellingtons in my family. Sawyer Fam 2025. Save that. And then because this has a recolorable frame and a recolorable photo, I do not want to recolor the frame. I just want the photo. So I'm going to hit that and hit OK. So I want to click image texture in a resource list. They only have this one. So I'm going to click that and make sure it's in the plugin view. So here's a familiar site from my slide deck. You have a blank one. You're going to export it somewhere. And then you're going to go open your photo editor. Go grab that export or that extraction. And that's in here. There we go. So it's a blank one. I'm going to open and place that picture I took earlier of this family. Like that. Resize it to roughly the square I want it. I'm going to turn down the opacity just so I can see the square in it. I'm going to line that up. And then I'm going to take my selection tool. This is the masking part. Select that open frame area nicely. Like that. And then I'm going to hit the mask. So that does like a clean trim. And there you go. I'm going to export that. That can be a JPEG or a PNG. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna name it the same thing I named my recolor package file, Wellington Sawyer Fam 2025. Except for not do capital A. And I'm gonna spell Sawyer right. There we go. But I'm not gonna save it in storytelling. I'm actually gonna save that back where I save the other things. Not in my downloads. Even though it says downloads. I know that's really confusing, but there you go. So back in your SimPE, you don't need to reopen it. You don't need to close it after you do it. You can still just leave it on here. It's all ready for you to go. Just right click that area, build your DXT, open the folder file where your edited masked image is. Wellington, and make sure it's DXT3 and none build. It'll pop right in there. Commit and save. So now I have my recolor. Okay, we're back into the Wellington household. And you can see they're not posed anymore because I didn't save. This is what they were doing before I plucked them out of their casual Saturday hangout right here. It looks like Bryn and Grant were playing chess. Chase was just lounging. And Sawyer was probably like working on a novel because that's what he does. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to pull out some of these It Will Last Longer frames. These custom frames. They'll be in deco under wall for the hanging ones and statue for the table or the surface ones. And again, the reason I really like these is because they come in a bunch of sizes, but they're also repoed, which means I can get different kinds and they'll all have the same option for this recolor of the family photo I just did. Oh, I have to turn move objects on again so they don't get that red. But like, so here's 3 different versions. One's a wall, 2 are desk. So I can have this, and I named it Wellington. So yeah, they're like kind of at the end, but you see this is a option for all of these. And it looks really good. I think like the Lucas one is a little bit stretched, and Gummy had said that the reason for that is the frame is not actually the same shape are the same dimensions as the actual Lucas frame, so that's why it can look a little bit stretched. But I think the It Will Last Longer recolors are pretty in ratio to the picture they did, and that looks great. And now they have a new family photo. Because these are all different like files, I could even just change this one to the newer updated family photo. Like that. That was taken today. So thank you for coming to my workshop. I hope you've learned something new. I hope you're inspired to take family photos. Um, Join the Sims 2 Forge if you haven't. We have a lot of really great workshops, mostly every Saturday, every other Saturday, presented by Os usually, but he has guests sometimes like me or Pick and Mix and more. So if you ever have questions about creating content, that's a good place for resources. And be sure to check out the resource doc for this workshop for all the goodies. That'll be linked in the video. And the slide deck also. So if you need to see the steps again, that's available to you. Thank you.